Daddy.
Can you bring it in here? As she enters the living room carrying the food tray, Saya sniffs the air.
Does the paint smell bother you?
Now that she mentions it, I suppose that the smell of paint thinner must be building up in this closed room. Doesn't really bother me, though. There are far worse smells outside. Does it bother you, Saya?
No, I'm fine if you are.
Saya sets the food on the table. Unfortunately, neither its color nor its smell is at all appetizing. Not that eating elsewhere is any different. Thanks for the food. As has become my custom, I steel myself and methodically transport the food into my mouth. The taste is as gut-wrenching as I expected, but it's not Saya's fault. I'm sure she made it exactly like the cooking show said. It's just that my taste buds can't accept it.
It's not good?
Well, no. Lying about these things won't make Saya happy. She knows about my condition.
Don't worry about it. I'll make something different tomorrow.
Sorry. You always go to the trouble of cooking, but
It's fine. If I keep trying, maybe I'll find something you'll like.
In my current state, eating is nothing more than an unwelcome duty. As much as I hate it, I have to do it to survive. If I stay alive, then perhaps one day, as Saya says, I'll be able to eat something delicious again. I met Saya, didn't I? Are you going to eat?
No, I already ate.
Even after we started living together, Saya has never once eaten with me. I don't know why she refuses to do so, and it makes me a little sad, but I'm not about to force her. After all, she is putting up with all the eccentricities that are a result of my warped senses. By the way, I asked about your father at the hospital again today.
About Dad?
Ogai Masahiko, Saya's father, is her only relative and a professor at the T University Medical School. Saya has asked me to unravel the mystery of his disappearance. Like I thought, they wouldn't tell me anything, but I get the feeling they're hiding something.
Oh.
I expected Saya to be a little more dejected. Aren't you worried about him?
No.
Saya responds with an unreadable expression.
It's not that.
She gives a little shake of her head, then smiles once again.
Thanks for all you're doing for me, Fuminori.
You're doing much more for me. I thank her for the meal and set my chopsticks down next to the perfectly clean plates. No matter how it tasted, thinking of the emotion that Saya put into it gave me the strength to finish it.
Will you take a bath now?
Yeah. Will you wash my back again?
Yeah.
Ever since Saya moved in, it's been like having a new wife. Saya.
Fuminori reaffirms his existence among the living through carnal relations with his precious Saya, crying as he realizes she has become his one and everything. She swears not to leave him, because she too was once alone. In all the world, the only one for Saya is Fuminori, and the only one for Fuminori is Saya. Yo is determined to talk to him today. Nothing will happen as long as she continues to hesitate, and putting it off will only make her suffering last longer. It's time to show courage again. Yo's fourth period on Thursdays is biology, and this is her one chance to see Fuminori. Because it's a required course with many students, the lecture is held in a large hall that can seat over 200. But since the room is usually only about half full, it's rarely difficult for Yo to find the seat she wants. Yo prefers to sit near the center, where it's easiest to hear the professor. Most of the students congregate in this area for the same reason. Fuminori usually sits next to her, although it's not always possible when there's no seat available. Yo has resigned herself to this as representing the distance still between them, but they still always try to sit as close as possible. The classroom isn't crowded today, so Yo was able to set her bag on the seat next to her without bothering anyone. When the professor arrives at the usual time to start class, however, there's still no sign of Fuminori. After waiting for about 10 minutes, Yo furtively casts her glance around the room. He's there. Fuminori must have come in without her noticing, because he's sitting alone in the far back corner of the room. Did he miss Yo when he came in? No, that's not possible. In the first place, no serious student would willingly sit in such an inconvenient place. Feeling miserable, Yo slides her bag back over to herself. Fuminori is out the door the moment class ends, and Yo barely manages to catch up to him before he disappears down the hallway.
Sakisaka-san!
At the sound of his name, Fuminori stiffens as though he was just bellowed at.
What is it?
He turns to her and says, though he seems reluctant to do so. Now that they're face to face, Yo is painfully aware of how much weight Fuminori has lost. His sunken eyes and protruding cheekbones are a far cry from the features familiar to her. She wonders whether he's under a lot of stress, or perhaps not getting enough nutrition. Maybe it's both. He looks more tense than he should be, like he's irritated or even frightened of something. His eyes move restlessly from point to point, and he refuses to look Yo in the eye. Just looking at him makes Yo's chest ache with sadness. What could have changed him so? Today, she reminds herself, relighting the flame of courage in her heart.
I have something to talk to you about. Do you have some time?
The courtyard is empty and silent. No one willing to sit on a bench and chat in the cold November air.
So what is it?
Don't you remember?
Yo almost bursts out, but she manages to keep herself from being so blunt.
Sakisaka-san, you've been acting strange recently. I'm worried about you.
Maybe you're right. A lot's happened after all.
He smiles like it's nothing, but even that seems stiff and forced. He's even standing precisely one pace further away than he used to when talking to her.
Is that really all?
Do you think there's something more?
Yo manages to keep from flinching at the hardness in his voice.
It's like you're struggling with something.
Rather than answer, Sakisaka grinds his toe into the dead grass at his feet. Fearing that her determination might flag, Yo lets the words come as they may.
It's like you're trying to bear some unimaginable weight, but the struggle, it's breaking you. That's how you look to me.
Oh, really?
Fuminori mutters through clenched teeth, no longer even trying to deny it or change the topic. This brush-off is an even clearer sign of rejection than his earlier evasiveness. But Yo's determination is strong. Today, at least, she won't back down.
It's times like these,
She implores, trying to convey the sincerity of her feelings for him.
that you need your friends.
I really feel bad about what happened to your family, but you're not alone. You have Dokun and Oumi-chan, and you have me.
Yo can no longer stop the words from pouring out. She fears that if she does not release all of the myriad emotions pent up inside her, they will be lost forever.
I think we can help you, so that you don't have to carry everything by yourself. Even if we can't do anything, talking to us might make you feel a little better. I want to help you, Sakisaka-san. The others all feel the same.
Stop it!
Fuminori shouts, silencing Yo's entreaty. She had promised herself that she wouldn't back down, but Fuminori's expression was terrible enough to shatter her resolve. The look in his eyes is not anger, or any other warm-blooded emotion. It is hate. Murderously cold hate.
Oh yeah. I just remembered that I still haven't given you an answer.
He remembers. Yet still he has treated her with such coldness. And that alone is more than enough of an answer for you. If his words tear her heart to shreds any further, she won't be able to bear it.
I never saw you in any particularly special way before. When you expressed your feelings for me, I wasn't sure how to respond. I didn't know how I really felt about you after all.
Saki-saka-san?
But now, I can give you a clear answer. I've had plenty of time to think it over, you know. Tsukuba-san, I hate you. I don't even want to look at you.
I must cry.
Yo tells herself, but too late to stop the tears pouring from her eyes.
I suppose it's too much to hope that I never see you again. We do go to the same school. So, would you mind at least never talking to me again? I'm quite sick of you.
How can you be so...
Yo inadvertently whispers, to which Fuminori twists his lips into a horribly cruel smile.
You should calm down a little. Seriously. I bet you were just egged on by Oumi and Kouji, right? You can play at having a crush all you want, but leave me out of it.
That's all Yo can take. Even after shedding tears in front of him, she absolutely refuses to let him hear her cry. Any disgrace would be preferable to breaking down here. So she runs, fleeing breathlessly from the courtyard with Fuminori smiling coldly at her back. Oumi was the first to catch sight of Yo and Fuminori leaving for the courtyard. Reluctant to interrupt them, but still unwilling to leave them alone, Kouji and Oumi ended up watching the whole thing from the shadows.
That asshole!
Throughout the exchange, Oumi was clearly itching to jump out and punch Fuminori in the face. Knowing her temper, Kouji kept firm hold of her sleeve until the end. If he hadn't, she might very well have done it. Fuminori leaves after Yo, his every step seeming to take an act of willpower. Kouji sighs heavily into the once more empty courtyard, but the bitter taste in his throat won't go away.
What's wrong with him?
Even for Kouji, Fuminori's treatment of Yo is unforgivable. However, the first thing that he feels is confusion. Kouji and Fuminori are old friends, having known each other since before college. As far as Kouji knows, Fuminori has never been so cruel before. And there's no question that the accident changed him.
Kouji, are you just going to let this go?
I don't want to just let it go. But what can we do?
Something better than peeping!
Oumi shouts, clearly infuriated.
I won't be satisfied until I give him a piece of my mind!
That won't make Tsukuba feel better.
But it'll at least make me feel better!
Yo and Oumi are best friends, just like Kouji and Fuminori. And it was the relationship between Kouji and Oumi that brought Fuminori and Yo together. Just as it's natural for Oumi to be worried about her friend, it's also natural for her to be angry with Fuminori.
I'm going to talk to Sakisaka-kun by myself. You don't have to come.
You serious?
You go take care of Yo. She's probably really hurt. After she's finished crying, she'll need someone to be nice to her.
Wait, shouldn't we switch jobs?
You know my personality. If I try to comfort her, I'll just end up making it a lot worse.
Yeah, you have a point.
What's that supposed to mean?
Anyway, just don't go too far.
Ending the conversation before Oumi's mood gets any worse, Kouji heads off to find Yo.
I feel awful, miserable, but also refreshed. I finally crossed the line. I knew it would come crashing down like this sooner or later. having become unable to feel anything but disgust for other people. There was no way I could hope to maintain the relationships I'd had before the accident. Today's incident will definitely get back to Kouji and Oumi, and everyone will be convinced that Sakisaka Fuminori has had a major change of character. Honestly, I don't care anymore. At least I probably won't be institutionalized for this. I just need to avoid acting any stranger than I already have. If this puts a rift between me and the others, good. Just thinking about the stress I'll avoid makes me feel like a weight has been lifted from my shoulders. I'm fed up with them sticking their noses into my life. It's like they don't care that they make my gut turn just by being near me. I've been terrified of them until now, but today I struck fear into one of them. On one hand, thinking about it is a relief, but I'm not entirely without remorse for what happened. The person I just chased off with the verbal equivalent of a nuclear bomb used to be my friend Yo. Even if my senses don't believe it, my mind accepts the theory. I don't have any particular grudge against Yo herself, and I didn't want to hurt her. In retrospect, perhaps I should have just outright refused to talk to her. Yo, she was an attractive woman, and I certainly didn't think bad of her. To be honest, though, I was annoyed when Kouji and Oumi tried to stick us together for the fun of it. I felt like I was being toyed with, and Yo seemed totally oblivious to the fact that she was dancing to their tune. Her cluelessness was irritating. That said, I knew that none of them meant any harm. Back then, I didn't have any reason to hurt others just to get my way. If having a casual relationship with Yo would keep our circle of friends together, I was willing to make that compromise. Now, however, there's no room in my heart for the tolerance necessary to just go with the flow. If merely talking to someone is an unbearable ordeal, how can I be expected to show kindness? These ruminations have left me exhausted. I want to return to Saya as soon as possible, but thinking about the packed trains and crowded downtown streets between here and home saps my will. Catching sight of a nearby bench, I sit down and close my eyes to the horrors of the world. I can't do anything about the stink or the noise, but at least I can manage to calm my nerves enough to rest. When I regained consciousness in the T University Hospital ward, the world was as dark as it is now. I hadn't regained my sight, even though my eyes and optical nerves were fine. It must have been an after effect of the accident. Blindness was a shock, but now I know that my suffering then was nothing. After all, my senses of hearing, touch, taste, and smell were all fine at the time. The real tragedy began when my sight returned. Soon my disorder spread to the senses of touch, taste, and smell. In the human sensory structure, sight is far more powerful than any of the other senses. The taste of my food, the feel of my bedsheets, the fragrance of my get-well flowers, all became as unbearably foul as my eyes said they should be. Eventually, when even the voices of the doctors became unrecognizable as human, I decided to kill myself. I didn't believe for a second that I could come to terms with this new world. At least, not until I met Saya. One night, when I was trying to think of a painless way to die, I found myself succumbing to sleep. Drifting between the nightmares of my dreams and the nightmare of reality, I didn't notice her enter my room. Suddenly, there was a face staring curiously down at me from next to my bed. The face was not covered in pus, slime, or earthworm-like feelers. It had smooth white cheeks, round eyes, a lovely little nose. All things I had never expected to see again. The face was that of a girl, undeniably human, and positively glowing with beauty. I sighed in admiration, savoring the first peace and joy since regaining my sight. Apparently, she had not expected such a reaction.
Aren't you afraid of me?
Looking at the clock, I saw that it was exactly 3 in the morning. Not a time for a young girl to be wandering around the hospital. Even someone with no imagination would likely have thought her a ghost. I, however, Wouldn't have cared if she'd been a ghost. Either way, she was a godsend. Who are you? Why are you here?
I'm Saya. I'm looking for my dad.
I assumed that she was the daughter of one of the night shift nurses or other patients. It was unusual, but not unthinkable for such a child to be wandering around. Rather, it was the hospital security's fault for not locking the doors properly.
It's no fun if you're not scared.
Wait! I cried, desperate to keep her from leaving. It was only after she turned around that I realized I hadn't thought of what to do next.
Well?
Her eyes drew me into their depths, healing my soul to its core. Through the white haze clouding my mind, I struggled to form a coherent sentence. I shouldn't do this to a girl. But you're the only one I can ask, no longer concerned with propriety. I let the words come pouring out of my mouth. Will you let me hold your hand? Saya first looked confused, but then smiled like she just found a new toy. Her smile was like the sun.
You're strange,
She said, holding out her slender white hand.
No one's ever asked me anything like that.
Ever so carefully, as though catching snowflakes in my hand, I placed my palm against hers. I could clearly feel her human warmth and the softness of her delicate fingers. She was there, just beyond the palm of my hand. Thinking back on the joyful tears I shed then, I know that that was the moment I was saved from my fate.